welcome to stage 3 at the OVO Energy Women's Tour as the riders now make their way from Atherstone to Royal Leamington Spa. Well, as this race gets progressively harder, will we see another big shake-up on those overall standings? Let's take a look back at the changes that happened yesterday on the roads to Daventry. Stage 2 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour saw the riders take on the testing roads between Rushden and Daventry. Following the start, 2 early sprints at Easton Maudit and Cogenhoe, Team Sunweb's Corinne Rivera took first and second to add to the time bonuses she secured in the opening stage. After those intermediate sprints, the pace settled, allowing Maika Bugard to make a lone attack. The BTC City Ljubljana rider extended her lead to as much as 4 minutes before the peloton began to reel her in. Once on the finishing circuit, Elisa Longo-Borghini and Kasia Nieuwedoma of Canyon SRAM instigated a move on Newman Hill, and that split the peloton. They were led over the finish line the first time by Danny Rowe of Wow Deals and followed by her teammate Marianne Vos. A reduced peloton managed to rein in that dangerous-looking move, eventually seeing a bunch of 40 forming without the race leader Yolyn Dor. Second time over Newman Hill, Longo-Borghini took maximum points to secure the Queen of the Mountain jersey, setting up a thrilling finale.
Tough finish, but Marianne Vos hits the front. Rivera's right in the slipstream. Here comes the American right on the line, and a throw to the line. A great finish there between Corinne Rivera and Marianne Vos.
All changed then in the top 10 on the overall standings, with Rivera leading Rowe by 15 seconds and Vos 1 second further adrift. I'm joined now by Chloe Hosking, whose highlight earlier this season was, of course, being crowned Commonwealth Games champion. What did that mean to you?
I've been asked this question a lot of times, so I need to come up with a better answer. But I just have no way of verbalizing what it meant. It was super special, and winning a gold medal is already special, but then how the Australian team went about it just, I think, made it that much more meaningful to me. And obviously my family was there, my friends were there, it was on home soil, and I think Australia put on a great show, so yeah.
It was amazing to watch. And how have you specifically prepared for the Women's Tour this year?
Well, I've actually just been at altitude for a month, so I'm feeling a bit sluggish, and I'm hoping that the Women's Tour, I just ride into it. So this is third stage today. I won it last year, so I'm hoping, the legs come good today.
How have the last 2 days been out on the road in the bunch?
Nervous, but I think everybody's really excited to race here, so there's just that much more pressure, and I think it's been some really great racing. It's definitely been hard. Yesterday's finishing circuit definitely put some sting in the legs. The stage today is pretty much a carbon copy of last year's, except the finish is a little bit different. There's definitely some tough climbs on the course, one of which isn't actually categorised, so that may catch a few riders out, and I think it's quite a good launching pad for attacks. I do expect this year for it to be more of an aggressive stage, given that the GC's not as determined as it was last year. So looking forward to some aggressive racing and trying to survive the hills.
And how are the team as a whole feeling this morning? Because we're at the halfway point now, really.
Yeah, I think we feel pretty good. We're sort of just riding into the tour, and we want to take our opportunities as they come. So we've got some really good all-round riders, and it would be really nice to give them an opportunity today. So would love to see our young Italians in Soraya Paladin and Anna Trevisi get up for a good result today.
Chloe, thank you so much for joining us today. Now let's take a closer look at the route to Royal Leamington Spa and what else the area has to offer. At just over 150 kilometres, Stage 3 is the longest of this year's tour. It starts in Atherstone and heads south, taking in sprints at Kenilworth and Wellesbourne. The route then turns north, and a pair of Category 2 climbs in quick succession at Edge Hill and Burton Dassit should test out the riders before they head to the finish in Royal Leamington Spa. This will be the third time that Atherstone has hosted a stage start of the Women's Tour. Situated in the north of Warwickshire, Atherstone is best known for its annual Shrove Tuesday football game, a tradition that has survived for over 800 years. Royal Leamington Spa boasts dramatic Regency architecture, delightful parks and gardens, and some of the country's best spas and salons. The wide boulevards and impressive Georgian and Edwardian buildings provide a stunning backdrop to the finish of Stage 3. This race is only serving to increase participation in the sport, as we heard earlier from British Cycling CEO Julie Harrington.
Events like this are so important because not only do they celebrate the amazing talent in women's racing, but they do inspire women and girls to get on their bikes, to be active, to be healthy, and it doesn't matter whether they haven't been on a bike for 20 years and this just reminds them that they used to like it, or whether it's a young girl who gained some confidence to actually get on a bike on the road for the first time. That whether it's somebody at the top of the sport or people starting for the first time, events like this help all the way through the sport.
As the riders get ready for the stage start, let's get the thoughts of race leader Corinne Rivera. What were your feelings after yesterday's stage?
Yeah, pretty incredible. We really wanted that one, and it was a hard day, and the teamwork was really well, and the communication was on point yesterday. So it was really a team effort, and it was just down to my job to finish it off for the girls.
How confident did you feel coming into this edition of the Women's Tour?
I've actually never successfully finished the Women's Tour. Last time I broke my wrist when I was racing here, so it's just good to be back and have a fresh start here and give it a good go.
Going into today's stage, what's the feeling among the team and the objectives?
Yeah, we're really happy, and we're really glad that we have the leader's jersey, but there's still 3 more days to go, so we have to be ready for anything that gets thrown at us, and we won't go down without a fight.
Time now for a quick...
The riders on the start line ready for the off here in Atherstone, the 3rd time we've started in this great little market town. And the weather conditions for the riders, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius and a 13 to 15 km/h west-southwesterly wind, so should give us sort of cross headwinds for a lot of the day, cross tailwinds up towards the finish, and then a headwind in the finishing straight. If you weren't with us yesterday, Corinne Rivera taking a fantastic stage victory and going into the stage in the OVO Energy green jersey as a race leader, and she also leads in 2 other competitions. In the pink breast cancer care competition that'll be worn today by Mariana Voss, and she leads as well in the iceberg sprint competition, which is being worn by Amy Peters. Great send-off for the riders, and Joe, as always, the riders love the weekday starts here in the Women's Tour for all the school kids that line the route.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. It's very rare to race in Europe with these sort of crowds, especially with all the kids. It is about inspiring people, and there's always some nice stories. There's always someone that will come up to you and say, oh, I watched you race so-and-so, and now I'm here to watch you again. And it's so nice to hear the stories of people getting on their bikes for the first time. But yeah, absolutely incredible crowds, so this is amazing.
It is absolutely phenomenal. The riders just enjoying the rollout here. So we have the neutralised section before we get to kilometre 0, and race proper will start. And it's been tough for any riders to get away so far in the race. No one really wanting to let anything go clear too early on in the stage. If you weren't with us yesterday, we had 2 withdrawals. Katie Archibald of Wiggle High 5, and also Abigail Van Twisk, the drops rider that went down quite heavily at the end of stage 1. She managed to pick herself up and finish. She started yesterday and she managed to battle her way all the way to the finishing circuit. So we wish them well in their recovery. There's your OVO Energy green jersey wearer, Corinne Rivera. Danny Roche, she's in that blue best British riders jersey from Adams, and there's your Skoda Queen of the Mountains in the black jersey, Elisa Longo Borghini. And Joe, the Skoda Queen of the Mountains and the Iceberg Sprints competition highly fought over so far in this race.
They have been very hotly contested right from day one. The very first Queen of the Mountains that we had, there was a full-on lead-up by Bowles Dolmans for those points, and everyone wants to come to a race like this and come away with something. So to pick out to come away with a jersey for a team is a huge bragging right, and it is really important.
Over 25 kilometres into the stage, a very, very fast start here. Oh, and a very heavy crash, and it looks like Hayley Simmons, and right alongside her, number 93 there, that's Manon Lloyd. Let's have a look at the slow-mo here of that.
Oh, it was going faster and Haley just got caught on the wrong side of the wheel and just came down. That is a nasty way to crash on a straight road like that. You'd never think that would happen, but touch the wheels at that speed. Another rider as well comes sliding in. She must have just slammed on the brakes. She's looking like she is getting up though, the Trek Drops rider there.
So the riders just getting all the cars manoeuvred around them. So you can see Hayley Simmons is also on her feet. Unfortunately, though, Hayley Simmons has had to retire from the race today, heading towards the first sprint of the day. Comes at 36.1 kilometres in Kenilworth. And again here, Joe, you can see Sunweb right on the front. They're really throwing everything, these bonus seconds on offer. These could prove really important as this race heads towards the finish on Sunday.
They could prove vital, and we saw yesterday Corinne Rivera win the stage with a tough climb very close to the end. And I think we have to ask the question now, could she be going for the overall win of the whole stage race? She was climbing, she stayed there with the best climber, she had a brilliant team around her, and she won that sprint. A very, very close sprint with Marianne Vos, but that was a fantastic win. And here she's got her team leading her out full gas for these intermediate seconds as well in this sprint.
So Ellen van Dijk on the front, Leah Kirschman right behind her. She's got two teammates on the wheel as well, just running a bit of interference to make sure no one gets on Corinne Rivera's wheel. Marianne Vos brings Danny Rowe in that blue jersey up and just drops her off onto the right wheel. Leah Kirschman, the Canadian, now hands over Christine Majerus in that Luxembourg national champions jersey with the red shoulders. Now Marianne Vos starts her sprint. Danny Rowe's right with her. The green jersey though, Corinne Rivera sees the line ahead of her, comes off the wheels of her teammates, and it looks like it's going to be first points and seconds of the day to our leader Corinne Rivera. And again, a great job done by Sunweb. Christine Majerus slots in there in second, and Danny Rowe picks up another important second.
That's the usual suspects up there again. Once again, it's great to see Marianne Vos leading out Danny Rowe. They're a brilliant combination in this race. We've seen them up there on all the climbs and all the sprints and the stage finishes. So I'm really excited how we can see those two race the rest of this bike race.
Just over 45 kilometres into today's stage, and there's so much action from the start. And Joe, Marianne Vos just making her way back into the race.
Yeah, she could have either gone back to the team car or had a mechanical herself, but the race isn't really on at the moment, so no stress here from her to just work her way back through the team cars. She hasn't had any teammates to go back for her, but yeah, she looks pretty relaxed there at the back.
And starting to get a move off the front here. And here's the Norwegian national champion that's just going clear here. Very recognisable jersey. And in the bunch behind, Lisa Brunau just sorting out her race radio, and one chaser just trying to come across. So this looks like the start of a good move here.
It does. I think that's a rider from Cervelo Bigler coming across there. So this is a good opportunity. There's been a lull in pace in the bunch, and riders want to do something in the stage, and riders that are a little bit lower down on the GC will have the opportunity to get a bit of breathing space from the bunch. So we can see here not much of a reaction immediately. Green jersey of Corinne Rivera at the back here.
And Corinne just having a bit of a stretch here, and you do see this, don't you, out on the road, riders, you know, kilometre after kilometre, you do get a bit tight, and then you can do a lot of stretching on the bike during the stage.
Oh, definitely. This is a 150-kilometre stage. It's a long day on the bike. It's their third day of racing. It is important to, you know, keep stretching, and on the bike is also a good time to do that if there is a relaxed point of the race. And she was taking her opportunity there. She's a very skilled bike rider, so she's obviously completely confident doing that in the bunch.
Our two leaders, and Sophie Doik from Cervelo Bigler, and Vita Heine from High Tech Products. And the highest placed rider out of these two is 33rd overall with Vita Heine. They're both 1 minute and 43 seconds down on the general classification. And Sophie is 60th overall. 1 kilometre to go to the next iceberg sprint. And these have been hotly contested over the opening stages in this year's race. It's going to be interesting here, Joe, to see whether the two leaders actually sprinted out between them. They've got 2:05 on the pelotons, so on paper it's Vita Heine that's the virtual leader on the road, because sometimes we'll see a breakaway, they'll just ride through the intermediate sprints and keep the continuity of the break rather than sprinting it out.
Yeah, I think they're just going to ride through here. That would be the sensible thing to do. They need to work with each other. They don't need to race each other at this stage. They've got a good lead, but behind, like we said before, the sprints have been so hotly contested. There is still one bonus second available in this sprint. So are these teams going to really ramp it up now? And that could really eat into the lead of our two leaders.
So you've got Lisa Klein on the front there in the white jersey of the German national champion. Just saw the green jersey of Corinne Rivera just moving up on the inside. And Corinne, she's been banking some good seconds so far in this race. And as we said, you can't underestimate her throughout this race. She can climb, and she's now moving through to the front. Interesting to see that Sunweb not putting the full lead out up there this time.
She can climb very well, and I think she's always been labelled as a sprinter, but she's run some very hilly bike races in her career, and you know, she's a bike racer, not just a climber. And having had her result yesterday with that big climb so close to the end, I think we have to start asking the question, can she go all the way to Sunday's finish?
Because if she can just keep putting these little 1 second here, 1 second there, put them in the bag, and here we go behind it, Corinne Rivera out of that group and makes light work of that sprint and just takes that 1 second. But that can become important as this race goes on, just to see those tough climbs on the final day, just to give her a bit of breathing space. And there's confirmation of your result here in Wellersborn. So Vita Heine and Anne-Sophie Doik take the top place, and Corinne Rivera sweeps up the 1 point. And also in the intermediate sprint standings, Corinne Rivera now extends her lead over Danny Rowe to 4 points. But our two leaders building a comfortable advantage. We had Micah Bogard off the front yesterday on her own, and as a lot of riders, and you said yesterday, Joe, they'd rather have someone with them.
Oh, definitely, you'd rather have someone with you. It's a long, lonely way on your own. And Sophie is a national time trial champion, so a very strong rider to be with. Also the national road race champion from Norway. To have someone to work together just gives you someone to talk to, a little bit of support as well when it's getting tough. Someone to take the win, someone to let you recover behind. And it's also good for them they managed to go through that intermediate sprint. I felt really, really sorry for the rider yesterday who was away for nearly 70k on her own, but managed to miss all the sprints and climbs, unfortunately.
So all this... Our two leaders now see the start of the first Skoda Queen of the Mountains climb of the day. Edge Hill, 800 metres in length, 9.9%. And Sophie Doik of Savella Bigler and Vita Heine from the High Tech Products team. And they've been holding a steady advantage, 2 minutes and 12 seconds over the peloton as they start this climb. And at 1:43, the time gap from both riders in the general classification going into today's stage. But as we start Edge Hill, this is quite a tough climb here, Joe. 10% average gradient.
This is going to be very tough for these two riders. They've been riding hard, riding at their thresholds for a long time now. Out on their own, just the two of them. The bunch, it's got all the riders with a bit fresher days. It's got all the climbers in there, and we can see them getting organised. We can see Team Sunweb up there getting a train going. So behind, the momentum is building, and these two riders are going to find this climb very tough.
The Women's Tour, though, it's an interesting race to ride, isn't it? Because our terrain is not like other countries, isn't it? Because on paper, we can have two categorised climbs, but you can be riding up and down all day, in essence.
Oh, exactly. So the profile will have two categorised climbs today, 2 second category climbs, but it's never really pan flat, and it is tough. It's tough all day, and it can be deceptive. If you haven't raced here before, you come here thinking, right, I've got 2 hills to get through today, and actually you've been up and down for many, many kilometres all race so far. So it is deceptive and it is hard, and it will pay off for the girls that have been able to recover in the bunch up till now in the race.
You can see the climb just starting to take its toll a little bit on the two leaders. Good crowds out again on all the climbs, as we always have here in the Women's Tour. You're seeing that Norwegian national champions jersey on the back here. Vita Heine, national champion on the road and in the time trial, but back to the front of the peloton, and it's Floortje Mackay of Team Sunweb on the front, and again doing the same job that we've seen throughout this race, keeping Corinne Rivera up towards the front.
They have got such a strong team, Team Sunweb, and I think she can be a real threat to the overall now. We keep seeing them working on the front, getting her in the right position at the right time, and even if she's not the best climber in the race, if you start the climb towards the front of the bunch, you've got much sliding room. You can slide to the back and still be in contact with the bunch over the top. And I mean, Corinne Rivera is a good climber anyway, but this team are working so hard for her. They must have confidence in her for the stage and maybe even for the overall.
You can see it's really biting the legs of the two riders out in the lead. Another interesting rider that I've seen up towards the front, the fluorescent yellow and orange colours of the Alicia Polini team, and Chloe Hosking. And this stage last year was pretty much the same, and she took the stage ahead of Alice Barnes and Ellen Van Dyke. You just see her on the right of your picture there, just out of the saddle, this year's Commonwealth Games road race champion. But again, Chloe Hosking as a sprinter, just you can see the effort on her face. She's just trying to stay as close as she can to the front and give herself a bit of drift room. But again, it's that European Champions jersey, and it's Marianne Vos that now goes on the offensive. So dangerous move here from the Wow Deals team leader. 2 minutes and 10 seconds is the time gap, and I think from the attacks from the likes of Marianne Vos, this gap's going to come down pretty quick on this climb.
She has got such a good jump. When she goes, it is so hard to respond to her. So she's built up a nice little gap there straight away, but we've got Canyon Schramm on the front chasing her down. They're not going to want her to get very far, but I think she is working hard for her teammate Danny Rowe, who we've seen constantly up there every day so far this race. Usually alarm bells start ringing around the peloton when Marianne Vos makes that move, and it's Kasia Nuvedoma in the second wheel here, and then that black jersey, the Skoda Queen of the Mountains leader, Elisa Longo Borghini, now climbing up towards the front onto the wheel of last year's winner. And again, another rider that's just keeping herself very much to the front of the peloton and very quiet is Pauline Ferrand-Prévot in third wheel there. Yeah, so two riders for the Canyon Schramm team in their new kit this week. That's a very dangerous team, though. That team, they've got some brilliant options throughout this race. Obviously, last year's winner in Kasia Nuvedoma, but two of them climbing really well here on this climb. So on the first one, they go round this corner at the top, and it's the Cervelo Bigler rider now that's going to take maximum points over the top of Edge Hill. It's a Category 2 climb, 6 points on offer. And again, back to the peloton, and it's Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. That's in the centre of your picture. Georgia Williams on the left, but Kasia Nuvedoma and Elisa Longo Borghini starting to make a little move here. The summit of Edge Hill comes 37 kilometres from the finish. We've got Burton Dassit after this, which is 26.3. Do you think the climbs are just a little bit far from the finish today to make a significant dent in the general classification? I think they might be a little bit far out. It all depends who's still got teammates in the bunch who can work for their team leader. Just seen Danny Rowe go over there, pick up some more points in the Queen of the Mountains, but Alyssa Longo Borghini looking very strong with Kasia Nuvedoma on her wheel. We'll have to see whether they carry on this or whether they sit up and wait for the rest of that group. They have confirmation of your results, so more good points scored for Elisa Longo Borghini, and our two leaders still working strongly together. There's your Queen of the Mountains standings, so Elisa Longo Borghini now 12 points ahead of Kasia Nuvedoma, and if you want to win this classification, she's doing the right thing, building up so many points early on. Heading towards Burton Dassit, the second Queen of the Mountains point of the day. And our attackers over the top of Edge Hill, Elisa Longo Borghini and Kasia Nuvedoma, swept up by the peloton, so they are all together behind. But these two riders doing well to hang out here for so long today. They are doing well, and it'd be easy to say at this point, oh, what's the point in carrying on, you're going to get caught, but it's not over till it's over. And I've been away in breaks before where the bunch has been in sight behind me, then they've just sat up for a bit, the pace has come off, and then I've carried on staying away. So it is always worth fighting until it really is completely over. But for now, they're still holding a good gap at this stage. You can see they've still got the Vittoria neutral service car behind them, so it means they're still holding 30 seconds. So they have that neutral car. Once they get over a minute, they slot their own team car in behind them. So that's always a good telltale sign just how much of a gap the chasers have. Now we've got a chaser here, and it's Rosella Ratto of Silence Pro Cycling, and another former stage winner in this race. So interesting move by Ratto here as we head towards Burton Dassit. This will make the other teams chase as well, so it takes the pressure off her teammates. And she's obviously got good legs. She's thinking, now's my chance to get off the road, and that could mean if she is away coming into the climb and the rest of the riders ride up to her, that puts her in the front group without having to actually battle with the top climbers on the actual climb. The Burton Dassit climb, 1.7 kilometres in length. It's got an average gradient of 4.9%. It's a tough little climb, and Rosella Ratto, she's giving chase to our two leaders. And they went clear at about the 54 kilometre point, so they've been out there for quite a while today. And for those riders at the back of this group there, this is where it's going to start getting hard. Oh, well, this is the longest day, and with it being the third day of the race as well, you need to be on top of your nutrition, on top of your hydration. You know, you're not even quite halfway through the race at this point, the overall stage race. There will be a lot of sore legs in the bunch, and this is going to really hurt FBR today, 150 kilometres.
So Rosella Ratto just has a little glance back over the shoulder, and you can see the peloton behind there almost holding back here a little bit as they run in towards the main part of the climb here. They don't maybe not want to catch this breakaway too early.
You'll see the team starting to get organised, so you'll get a few lead-out trains forming, but at the moment they've got them in sight, and it's a case of, do they want to go for maximum points, or is it more of a launch pad to make an attack? So you might find they're not actually bothered about winning the points. I mean, Longo Borghini is currently got a big lead in that classification, but she might be more concerned about launching an attack over the top to try and get away and make a break.
So going into today's stage, Corin Rivera held a 15-second advantage over Danny Rowe in second place. Marianne Vos third at 16 seconds. The top 10 separated by just 23 seconds. And it's worth remembering we've got 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds on the line. And after that stage win by Corin Rivera and these intermediate sprints building quite an advantage. And you can see the riders in the top 10. That's why they're battling it out. We've got a crash on the right here. And it's one of the Trek Drops riders. It looks like Eva Björman here. That's just taken a little tumble into the grass. Not having a great day today, Trek Drops.
Yeah, we saw a crash earlier for one of their riders as well, so that is difficult. But at these points when it narrows, everyone jostling for position, and it is very easy to have a little crash like that. But she looks to be completely fine and back on her bike, and I'm sure she will battle on and get back up to that bunch quickly.
So you can see a few little splits now occurring on the narrow climb here in the Burton Dassit Country Park. And now the lead really starting to tumble on these steep slopes of this climb. And it's the Wow Deals team again. The green colours. Looks like Sabrina Stultians now that's making a little move here. Elisa Longo Borghini is with her. Again, that black jersey. Kasia Nuvodoma is also well up there. And Wow Deals, phenomenal team. They've got so many options in this race between Stultians here, Vos and Danny Rowe.
They have been working really well together. I think they are close to that stage win. We've had Marianne Vos very frustrated on day one, very close yesterday, coming second to Corin Rivera. Also been working for Danny Rowe throughout the stage as well. So it's very impressive how well she has been doing at the finish. But they are going to be wanting a stage win today.
So in that Queen of the Mountains competition, as you saw just before, Elisa Longo Borghini building a commanding advantage in that competition, but Kasia Nuvodoma is just making sure that she keeps herself up there and scores some points. And then it's Elena Emilia Suk from the Canyon SRAM team, and again so impressive. On the previous climb we saw Pauline Ferrand-Prévot that was well up there, and she sits 10th overall. And now it's Emilia Suk, and this is the start of a decent looking little group going clear here. 4 strong riders, and Canyon SRAM 2 riders.
Yes, this is a great move to have one of their riders attack. With 2 of them up there, they can take it in turns to attack and make everyone else chase. They don't need to chase each other down. It means your teammate can just sit there and relax, follow the wheels, and let someone else do the work. But here, Elisa Longo Borghini wants to really stamp her authority on this group as well.
It's quite a deceptive climb, this one, isn't it? It sort of goes up in stages, and you can see every time it's sort of a little steep section comes in, you just start to get a few more splits in that group behind.
Yeah, you think you're there, but you're not quite there. But there, she has got it on the line now. Longo Borghini taking maximum points.
Kasia Nuvodoma follows Elisa Longo Borghini across the line. Elena Emilia Suk and Sabrina Stultians. Still a couple of places on offer here on the minor points over the top of the climb. And there's confirmation of Category 2. Burton Dassit. So Longo Borghini takes another 6 points to build well on that Queen of the Mountains competition. Worth pointing out there as well, Corin Rivera, our green jersey, going over the top there, well up towards the front. There's your Queen of the Mountains standings, and Elisa Longo Borghini now with 28 points, almost double the points of Kasia Nuvodoma. Heading towards the closing stages of stage 3 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. Over the top of that climb at Burton Dassit with 26.3 kilometers to go. All of our attackers have been brought back, and we are all together heading in towards the finish. You can see some little splits occurring. 10 kilometers to go, Joe. Everything setting up nicely for a bunch sprint from this group.
It is, but there's some runners that don't want a bunch sprint. So we've seen Danny Rowe really trying hard to break the elastic there. We've got a group of about 6 riders here. Christine Majerus on her wheel as well. I don't think it's going to be, because there is Team Summer you can see behind chasing on the front of the peloton, which is all strung out full gas right now.
Again, you can just see the work being done behind. Sabrina Stoltians comes through. Elena Miliusic from Canyon SRAM is there. Oma Shapira there, the Israeli national road race champion from Silence, but Danny Rowe right on the front again, just has a look round, but as you said, Joe, somewhere bringing it all back together again.
They are. So for Danny, she really needs a break to get away, because I think she knows that Corinne Rivera's at the finish is going to get out sprinted, and of course there's bonus seconds on the line. So for Danny, she needs a break to come away from that team, and for that to stick, to get more time, but doesn't look like it's going to be on this occasion.
And in the run in towards the finish, we've got a fairly sweeping run down towards what is a tight final corner. And just before we get to that, Millie Deirdrickson here just going off the front. Looks like Lucinda Brand that's going with her.
Yeah, so the Bowles-Dolman rider, more commonly known as a sprinter, previous world champion in Qatar in 2016, but an incredibly strong rider in her own right, and has won races in many different situations. And Bowles-Dolman, as we said before, are such a strong team. They've got loads of different cars to play, and I'd say probably Christine Majerus or Amy Peters for this finish perhaps, but Amelie here is putting in the attacks and making the other teams chase.
And it's Kasia Niewiadoma again that's going on the attack, the rider that went solo on the opening day of last year's race. Kept away all the way to the finish. Not going to let her do that again. But in terms of the finish, when we get down there, Joe, where do you want to be coming into that final corner?
Yeah, we've got a corner about 300 metres to go, which was the same as we had on stage 1. So you really at that point would like to have just perhaps one lead out girl still in front of you, doing that last little turn before you unleash your sprint to the finish. There's quite a fast run in, so we will see the lead out trains forming. I'm sure Sunweb will have an agenda to control it as well.
Pauline Ferrand-Prévot on the right there goes on the attack. Corinne Rivera, she's been quite quiet in the previous kilometres, and Chantal Black, the world champion, moves up onto her wheel. So it's a really select group that we've got here. I think looking at this bunch, we've got about 50 or so riders that are still left in here. Those 2 climbs that came in quite fast succession, they've split this group quite considerably.
Yes, and they've come towards the end of the race, so everyone was feeling tired. It is a long day out today. We've got all the favourites here, all battling it out. It's not certain it's going to be a sprint. There's a lot of people with an agenda to try and get away, so I'm sure we'll see lots more flurry of attacks in the next few kilometres.
Florty Mackay's taken over on the front, but you've seen Abby May Parkinson from Trek Drops moving up, one of the exciting young British riders, so we've got quite a bit of British talent in this main bunch here, and it's good to see Abby May up there and fighting at the front for Trek Drops.
She is doing very well, and it's great for that team to have someone up there. They obviously had a bit of bad luck on day 1 with the crash, but excellent to see her getting stuck in this race.
She's one of those young riders, as a lot of the Trek Drops riders, they're just getting stronger and stronger each season, aren't they? There's nothing like racing week in, week out with the best in the world.
Oh, definitely. It's a really good team for development. It's a nice sort of stepping stone for riders. We saw Alice Barnes was a part of them before, and now she's moved on to Canyon SRAM. So they have got a good setup, and it is good to see riders developing in this way, getting access to racing, getting exposed to this high level of competition against the best girls in the world, and developing themselves.
So looking around this group, there's Corinne Rivera, Marta Bastianelli in that pink breast cancer care jersey. She's keeping that warm for Corinne Rivera. So Mariana Vos, we thought might wear that, but the European Champions jersey trumps that one. So Marta Bastianelli, watch out for her coming to the finish. And again, more attacks now, trying to go clear here in the closing stages of this stage 3.
It is all on here. Everyone wants a chance to try and get a stage win. We've already seen wins for Mickelton Scott and for Sunweb, but everyone else wants an opportunity. But this rider here, she was the winner her own earlier in the race as well.
That's impressive stuff, isn't it? Because a lot of the time you'll see a rider get caught, as she did on that climb, and then just sit up and ride in towards the finish. For Vita Heine, this is impressive stuff going on the attack again. But that orange jersey of Amelie Deirdrickson, Mariana Vos right on the wheel. So the Danish rider, little flick of the elbow there, but again she's just dragging a little select group here off the front. But Vos not wanting to contribute as Christine Majerus with Danny Rowe attacks down the right hand side of the road.
Some great moves by the Bowles-Dolmans riders here, taking it in turns to attack. We just had Amelie de Dirksen, now Christine Majerus, but Danny Rowe doing a brilliant job of marking, and Marianne Vos in the previous attack as well. So I think the team of Danny and Marianne, they really want a stage win today. They're not letting Bowles-Dolmans dictate this.
They're not at all. Leah Kirschman closes that gap there for Sunweb. Chloe Hosking right up there as well in that yellow jersey with the orange on it. So the stage winner from last year, she's well in a good position here to try and repeat that victory.
She's of course the Commonwealth Games champion as well, so already having a fantastic season. I know that meant a huge amount to her. To the Aussie riders, to win a Commonwealth Games gold medal on home soil is incredibly important. So she's having a fantastic year, and of course the winner here last year, so she'll want another stage win today.
So Georgia Williams in that white New Zealand champions jersey. Somewhere again, strength in numbers. You're seeing Ellen van Dijk coming through towards the front, but 5 kilometres to go. And again, it's Kasia Niewiadoma that's trying to go on the attack. She knows she can't outsprint the likes of Chloe Hosking. This is what she's got to do to try and win this race overall.
It is. That was a big attack there, but she didn't quite have the jump on the bunch there, and Chloe Hosking was straight on her wheel. So all she's done here is really strung out the group. So she needs to sit up and wait and try and go again. But here she is. She's not giving up. She's persevering with this attack.
It's a little rise here, and Georgia Williams just gritting her teeth. Has a look around at Amelie Deirdrickson, but Kasia Niewiadoma just trying to use everything on the run in towards the finish. And Florty Mackay and Danny Rowe trying to jump across to her. So Eva Björman there, number 91. She's back in that group. We saw her take a little tumble earlier on, but Niewiadoma now just starting to move clear. They're going to have to be very vigilant on this attack.
This is a good move here by the Canyon SRAM rider. They've got a few other riders in the bunch as well that I've seen, so it lets them sit on, wait, let everyone else cover the moves, and hopefully counter-attack if she is brought back. But we saw her stay away last year, so what can she do now?
So breathtaking countryside as we run in towards the Royal Leamington Spa at the end of the stage today. Stage 3, 5 stages in total in this year's race, covering 678.1 kilometres. And our rider that's been on the attack for most of the day, Vita Heine, now just sitting on the back of the group. But this road here just rising and falling 4 kilometres in towards the finish. It's a slender advantage, and yet again it's those black and white jerseys of Team Sunweb that are trying to close it down for Corin Rivera.
Yeah, Team Sunweb as the team with the green jersey in their team, it's their responsibility to chase this down. They'll want the stage win and they'll want to keep that jersey, but they've been on it. They've been chasing all these moves and been doing a brilliant job of controlling the race. So far, no one's getting more than just a couple of seconds gap, really.
Another interesting rider we've got to watch out for. Just behind the pink jersey in the green and black is Giorgia Bronzini, the former world champion for the Silence Pro Cycling team. Bronzini, it's been a while since a victory for Bronzini, but she's poised and ready behind Marta Bastianelli.
Another attack there by Canyon SRAM as well, as Kasia Niewiadoma was brought back. So they are using all their options. They've got a few riders in this group, but again, getting chased by Team Sunweb.
Elena Amelia Sick just going off the front, and again Chantal Black just keeping control and second wheel here for Bowles-Dolmans, with Corin Rivera in that green OVO Energy leaders jersey right up onto the wheel of Danny Roche. Took the stage win yesterday. Marianne Vos was caught right on the line, and the all-important throw to the line was really what won Corin Rivera that stage yesterday.
It was a brilliant win, and she'll want to repeat that stage. She'll have that taste of victory. Once you start winning, winning is a habit, and you want to win it again and again. You don't want to come second, you don't want to come third. You want to be on the top step of that podium.
So Chantal Black keeps the pressure nice and high here. Just down the back of the group, Lisa Klein, the German champion, but Christine Majerus goes on the attack again. Marianne Vos just has a look around, but Florty Mackay from somewhere again, just trying to drag this one back. They know the danger of Christine Majerus. She sits 5th overall at 19 seconds. And a rider that could be a danger in the general classification. She's got a handy sprint as well, but for someone like Majerus, just wants to try and get clear. That all-important 10-second bonus on the line could make all the difference.
Yeah, the time bonuses are really coming into play this race, so it's not just a stage, but it's also those all-important seconds for GC. And this rider is a real threat, and Bowles-Dolmans have got a strong team, and she is performing really well. She's got a bit of a gap here, but again, it's Sunweb on the front.
We're just seeing Mitchelton Scott in those yellow and black jerseys as well coming through. They've already had a stage win in this race, and it's great for a team, isn't it? Just pressure off once you've got that all-important victory, and others can follow.
Oh, definitely. Once you've got the first one, that's pressure off for the team, but it gives everyone a taste of success. It boosts everyone. It boosts the staff. It boosts the riders. Other teams that haven't got anything so far, the pressure will be on them to really perform, especially with the TV coverage that we've got.
You can see, and again from the aerial shot, just a little gap here for Christine Majerus. Has a look around. I saw Marianne Vos moving up on the outside of the group, but again the pressure here from Team Sunweb. Looks like Julia Sook just closes that down. Emily Deirdrickson is second wheel. Chloe Hosking is there as well. Two very, very dangerous sprinters. Maybe a little bit close to the front, a little bit too early here, would you say?
Yeah, we haven't got a full lead-out train completely organised right now. So often you might have 3 or 4 riders in front of you leading you out, but because we've got quite a reduced bunch, probably less than 50 riders here, not everyone's got their full lead-out trains available to them. So it's up to some of the best riders here, some of the sprinters, to use other trains, use the other wheels, surf their way through the bunch and put themselves in the best position they need to be in coming into the finish.
So we saw Gracie Elvin from Mitchelton Scott just having a look back over her shoulder. The group just gets squeezed just a little bit as we run in towards the closing kilometre here. There's the Flamme Rouge now across the road, 1 kilometre to go, and it just weaves in before that all-important final corner. So positioning really key now on the run-in.
Positioning completely key. We've got 900 metres now to the finish, but with that corner at 300 metres to go, you need to be in the best position there. I think we've got a headwind towards the finish as well. It's going to be a long, hard sprint. You need someone ideally just in front of you. If you're leading that out, it's going to be a little bit too early, I think.
Here you have Mitchelton Scott moving through. Ellen Van Dyke right on the front here for Team Sunweb. Corin Rivera just in that green jersey having a look around for the wheels of her teammates. We've just seen the LA Cipollini team just try and bring Chloe Hosking up towards the front, but now it's advantage. Mitchelton Scott just trying to organise this lead out, but 500 metres to go.
And here's the corner. This is it. This is the last one before the finish, and we just saw Corinne Rivera as well right up there in the front few wheels.
Final corner, it's Marianne Vos that leads through. The pink jersey had to unclip her foot, but Marianne Vos now just a small advantage. It's that Mitchelton Scott jersey. Georgia Bronzini is well up there. Marianne Vos, has she gone too early? Cora Rivera trying to close down the gap. It's Sarah Roy now that comes over the top of Marianne Vos, stage winner last year. Bronzini trying to come through, but it looks like Sarah Roy might have enough. Yes, she does. Another victory for Mitchelton Scott. And it goes to Sarah Roy from Georgia Bronzini.
That was a fantastic finish there. So I thought coming into this, it's a long way from that last corner. Marianne Vos was first round. She had a really good gap here. She got a good jump out of that corner, but it pretty much gave the perfect lead out for Sarah Roy. She followed that wheel. She raced all the way to the line. An absolutely brilliant win there, and the second win for that team this week. And also a great second place there for former world champion Georgia Bronzini on the line there.
Confirmation of the result of stage 3. Sarah Roy wins from Georgia Bronzini, Marianne Vos, Corin Rivera and Roxanne Fournier. Danny Rowe was 10th. Sarah Roy of Mitchelton Scott wins stage 3 of the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour, the second of her career after winning into Chesterfield last year.
2 stage wins now this week for Mitchelton Scott. How's the feeling in the team?
Yeah, we've got an awesome vibe going at the moment, so we're really excited. It's awesome to lead Yolene out the other day, and her comeback from her collarbone just a few weeks ago. I mean, she's pretty sick about that little story, but we all think she's amazing, and we're so proud of her. And to pull it off today as well, they gave me an opportunity, and yeah, it's just really exciting for everybody.
Corin Rivera still leads in the breast cancer care points classification, and she strengthened her hold in the Iceberg Sprints jersey too. Elisa Longo Borghini has a commanding 13-point lead in the Skoda Queen of the Mountains competition. Danny Rowe is still the holder of the Adnams Best British Rider jersey. And for the second day running, it's Corin Rivera in the race leader's green jersey. So this is how things look on the GC after stage 3. Corin Rivera has extended her advantage by 1 second. Marianne Vos moves up a place ahead of Danny Rowe, who's 20 seconds off the lead. Amy Peters is 4th, Christine Majerus 5th, Elisa Longo Borghini 6th, and then comes a group of riders tied at 29 seconds.
As things draw to a close here in Royal Leamington Spa, that concludes another thrilling day of action here at the OVO Energy Women's Tour. We'll be back tomorrow with highlights from the penultimate stage, but from me, Marty and Joanna, bye for now. See you then.